How you doing, everybody? This is Jehoiadak Maccabeus Everyday Survival. Hope everybody's doing well out there. Hope everybody's safe and well fed, happy, meeting life's problems head on. That's the only way to do it. But I'm doing a U-joint today. I want to have my vehicle ready before the 4th next week. And my U-joint, on the rear U-joint on my K5 Blazer. I've got a 1984 K5 Blazer. Some of y'all's been around a while. You've seen it in some of the videos. But the U-joint's been chattering pretty good here the last few trips I've made with it. And I thought I'd get it fixed before it becomes a problem. Now with the U-joints, I know most people just, they don't keep spares around and take their vehicle to the shop whenever they start feeling a vibration or have a problem. And I'm going to attempt to show you how you can do it yourself if you want to. Now this is based on a 1984, and I know the newer ones are somewhat different than the older ones, but you know, it's not rocket science. It can be figured out. And but I always carry a spare U-joint with me on this K5 from front to back in the drivetrain. Not the axles, but the drive shafts front and back are the same. And so I carry a spare U-joint with me. And a lot of times you may not be in a position where you can replace the whole U-joint. And this is my old one. And see how wore out that post is? And the bearings were completely gone out of this one. But on the other side, the posts were still good and the bearings were still in there. So as soon as I take it loose and I can get it out of the rear yoke on the rear end, I take the good caps off and I'll put them in this little Ziploc bag that my new one came in. And then on the drive shaft, your U-joint sets in there like this. And on this one here, it has these little locking clips that go on the inside. And it's what you'll want to do. Some of the ones older than this, the locking clips are on the outside. And you can get them off the pair of pliers. You can get these off the screwdriver. Just get in behind one blunt end of it and then start prying out, and it'll usually expand out and pop off. But I tend to save them too. And I'll put them in my Ziploc bag that the new one came in, just so I've got spares. They generally send 4 with your new U-joint, so that in case you have a problem or something. But to take it out, I've got, where'd it go? I keep an old ball peen hammer head in my toolbox, or you could keep a ball peen hammer with a handle, either way. And with the U-joint in there, I put it on something solid. I got to hold it up in the air so you can see it. But down here I've got a rim and a power pole, and I'm using the power pole as my beating spot. Normally I could go in the shop and use my vise, but I've got a lot of things tore apart in there. And I'm trying to show you what you can do if you're bugged out and you're broke down on the side of the road. What I was saying a while ago about the caps, a lot of times if you catch it before the post gets all wallered, you can actually take your new caps and put on there. Just take it apart, and if this works, if it's these outside posts, not the inside post in the hole, the ones that hook up to the yoke on your rear end. If it's on this one here, it's the ones in the drive shaft, so it had to come all the way out. Hope everybody understands what I mean by that. You can just put a set of new caps on it if your posts aren't wore too bad and get quite a ways up the road. I mean, miles and miles and days running like that. Because them bearings are going to take up all that slack, a lot of that slack. I'm just throwing that out to you as options for you if you're ever like bugged out and suddenly your U-joint starts going out and you got to pull over somewhere and fix it yourself because there's no mechanics available. This is based on, well, if you're just poor broke ass, this applies too. And I've been poor broke ass a few times in my life. And I've been overseas and had to fix things with nothing. Yes, my ditch digger ass has been overseas. Okay, now on my new one, always keep plenty of black tape around in your vehicle. On my new one, I'm not even going to take my caps off. I want to make sure that I've got where I can get to my greaser. And I'll wrap tape around them. My two good ones that are going into the rear end. That way something's holding them on. You don't want them falling off and getting dirt in them or the bearings falling out or getting misarranged. If you do have to take your cap off, like I'm going to do with this one here, be real careful. Just kind of lightly twist it and lightly pull it like that. And that makes sure that your bearings stay off to the side of your caps instead of sucking loose and ending up in the bottom. I hate to even turn it up on side because sometimes they don't put enough grease in here. Your bearings should all be laying around the edge like that. They're just a what was the name? It's not a roller bearing. Oh well, there's a term for that particular style bearing. I take the two good ones off. And you want to wipe your drive shaft out as good as you can. That way you're not knocking dirt and debris down inside your caps and stuff, because this is kind of a tedious job. In a shop you would spray it down and clean it up real good. Okay. Just take them, try not to bump them around on the sides too much. I'll stick that up through there. You want to be real careful putting them back on that you don't start getting over into the bearings and knock them down. See, I got that one in part of the way. You just want to very gently line that stuff back up. You'll need to slide your U-joint out a little bit so that you can get some access to it. And you want to be real careful in this process of so you're not knocking them bearings loose. Just real gently tap it into place. Get as much of that cap to go in as you can. That's pretty close. That'll hold the bearings in. And do the same thing on this end. Try to slide the cheap part up in there. pause this for a second. I apologize about that. I thought I had a bearing had dropped down and was getting in the way because it felt kind of stiff. You want to check that. This should pivot real easy. That's why I was saying you got to be careful none of them bearings get knocked down and lay this way in the process. But everything checked out good. And then I just put it back on my solid object. Take my little punch. You want something that's pretty close to the size of the diameter of your cap you're trying to drive out. That's why I use this ball peen head. I drive it down. I think it's pretty cool if they start going to all these Ziplocs with stuff. These are pretty handy little bags. Kind of a pain to get open sometimes, especially if you've got grease on your fingers. You take that. This is the one that you drive it down just a little bit further than it needs to go, and there's a groove right there. And this here will just snap right down in there. Usually. This is a lot easier on a bench. Come on. Snap it in, roll it over, put that one down to your solid object, take your punch, give her a few smacks till you can see that groove getting to where you want it to be. You don't want to get carried away and drive it too far. And constantly while you're doing this, maintain the checking of the looseness of the bearing, that it's still got easy turn, easy movement. Okay, I need to smack this side one more time, lightly it feels like. These are kind of spring steel in a way, so you can lose one. You can be pushing it in and it'll boing, and it's off yonder in the bushes and you don't know where it's at. You want to make sure they see in to their groove there. Yeah, I believe it's in there. It tightened it up pretty good. Now when you do that, let's see, we was driving it that way a little bit. You want to knock it back the other way just a hair so it loosens it up a little bit. And a little bit of stiffness is okay. I forgot to do it. I usually put a little bit of grease in my caps too before I put it together. Well, they're not usually quite that tight. It's not going to really hurt anything because it was loose all the way up to the point where I put my snap rings in, so I know that the bearings are all in place. So if it's tight after that point, it is kind of okay. You don't want to get too crazy beating on it though, and after a while you lose track of which way you're going with it too. Anyway, that's all I got. Remember, carry extra U-joints with you if you plan on having to bug out. And 3 is 2 and 2 is 1. 1 is none. And the Murphy, he can show up anywhere, anytime. I hope y'all got some use out of this, and stay safe and have a good day.